Hello, everyone. Sabia here from Asmara Bellydance Initiative for Communi-Tea Thursdays. We are so excited to be interviewing Lara all the way in Istanbul, Turkey. This is going to be a really exciting interview. We're so happy she took the time to talk to us. Lara is a very accomplished dancer. She's danced internationally. She right now is located in Istanbul, but she's also lived in the US. She's done television internationally as a performer. I don't want to go into everything she's done. I'm really excited to talk to her, so I'll let her kind of introduce herself. But we're excited to have you with us today. My first question for you is, what style of belly dance do you do?
Hi, thank you so much for inviting me. I guess cabaret is my style. My first couple of teachers were Egyptian style American dancers. I've studied with Egyptian dancers. I've studied the dancing of I basically learn from whoever I like. And I wouldn't say that it's Turkish style. It's definitely not Egyptian style or Lebanese, but I just take what I like and prepare it for stage. And it's well received in Istanbul and the US.
That's really cool. So you kind of take it. I know belly dance has, we say it's birthed from a lot of different places. So you've kind of pulled stylistically from a few different regions of the dance.
That's true. A lot of Turkish dancers, especially maybe 5 or 6 years ago, a lot of Turkish dancers would say, "Oh, you dance Arab style," but then Arabs would say, "Oh, you dance Turkish style." So
that's so interesting.
I'm somewhere in the middle. It's definitely not Egyptian style, though.
Understood. Well, I know you have traveled a lot and you also have an adventure blog. Would you tell us a little bit about that as well?
I haven't been keeping up with my adventure blog the way I should for a while, and I think it might be related to having a dog. I had to settle down. But for a while, I was just a leaf in the wind. When I graduated university, I came out to Turkey, and I wasn't dancing actually those first 2 years. Then I came back to the US and I was dancing, if not full time, sometimes part time, sometimes 3/4 time in the US. And I traveled quite a bit within the US to study. For example, I went to Fresno to study with Corey Zamora. I love her. And then I went back to Turkey and I started dancing there. And while I was in Turkey, I had some opportunities to travel. I would say between 2011 and 2014 is when I really traveled the most. I went to Cyprus for a show with Babazula. I worked a season in Bodrum, dancing at lots of different hotels there with a company. I danced a season in Alanya, dancing at one venue. It was really nice, actually. The venue was only open 3 days a week, and my apartment was on the beach. It was an incredible experience. Oh, and I went to Egypt. I went to Egypt to perform, and that might be it. Maybe there's one other place I'm forgetting. There is Montenegro. I performed in Montenegro once. So those 4 years specifically, I traveled a lot for dance. But then after I got kind of tired of that, I came back to the States to recuperate. And then since then, I've pretty much been either in Washington, D.C., or for the past 4 years, I've been here in Istanbul.
Well, that's a lot of really interesting places to travel to dance. Did you have like a favorite place out of all of the places you went to perform?
My favorite place to perform is probably Turkey. Turkish crowds are really appreciative. They really like my style. They tend to be good tippers. Also, when I'm in Turkey, I dance for tourist crowds. So we get people from all over. So I have the most fun dancing in Turkey. I have the fullest schedule when I'm dancing in Turkey. And it's probably all the factors. Yeah, right down to the dressing room. Everything is usually pretty good here for dancing.
That's cool. I mean, I'm happy to hear that you're so well received in Turkey, and good tips are always amazing. We've had a lot of dancers on here that have talked about Egypt and that dance community. But is there anything that you would kind of want to share for people who aren't familiar with Turkey as like a dancer of color, things to know or interesting things about dancing in that area of the world?
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned that a lot of other dancers have mentioned dancing in Egypt and their experiences there. I don't necessarily, I wouldn't necessarily say that I felt welcomed in that dance community just because I don't have the right look. So I was never, I mean, not Egypt specifically, but the Arab world in general. I tried contacting one manager who was booking dancers, and I was told kind of flat out, you don't have the right look for dancing in Arab countries. And so I never really tried. After that, I do find that Turkish people are not as hung up on blonde hair and blue eyes or white skin. I feel they're not as hung up on it. Some people actually are really like, brown skin, curly hair. I mean, there are other issues, but race really wasn't a barrier for me dancing in Turkey. So that's one of the reasons I chose to dance here.
Well, that's good to know. I wasn't sure like the differences between being in those two places, how that would go in regards to race, but being in Egypt, I mean, I can't speak to other people's opinions, but there is colorism. So I could see that being the experience that you would have. I know that you've done, well, I call them gigs, but you've danced with companies, you've done gigs, but you've also been on television in Egypt and Turkey. And I know that that's, for a lot of us, a unique experience. So would you mind sharing kind of what that was like for you? You were on, was El Rakasa in Egypt, correct? And then in
That
Turkey
was
was a
in
reality
Egypt.
TV show?
Let me do it in order.
Okay.
I think it'll be in chronological order. Right before I came back to Turkey in 2011, I did that Project Bellydance thing, which was so much fun. We did Project Bellydance 1.0, met a couple of friends there, didn't win, had a good time. Then I came to Turkey in 2011, and I had just a couple of opportunities to perform on TV. And it's like afternoon TV, something like maybe housewife television. I've been on once or twice. And the thing about working on TV in Turkey is it's not really that glamorous. There's a lot of waiting around, and money's not great, and you don't get a lot of juice from it. It's not my fave. Then in 2013, I was invited to perform on Al Rakessa. I actually thought that it was a scam. I was like, somebody's writing me from Egypt to invite me to perform on TV. Oh, and Dina selected me. Because that's what the email said. I was like, let me just do a quick Google search. And the email that they had used to write me was from a television station. And so I got in touch, and I was flown out to Cairo to participate in this televised competition. And it was the first time that belly dance had been on regular TV in like 30 years, something like that. So it was a big deal. And also there was some unrest. So we were under high security because they didn't want anything to happen to us while we were there. So we were kind of confined. As far as the show experience itself, it really, for me, it was a bit stressful. Like parts of it were fun, but it was like quite disorganized. And there wasn't a lot of guidance. And because of security, a lot of times we were stuck in the hotel. I didn't get a chance to go out and explore and learn Arabic in 6 weeks like I had planned to do. And also they picked the music that I performed to, and they gave me this like cha-cha-cha with a darbuka beat combination. And I couldn't really work it, you know. I did my best. It was fun. Honestly, I was just relieved when I finally got a chance to perform, because the way it was organized, things kept changing because of this or that, or I don't know, there's a flood in the studio. I don't know if that really happened, but all kinds of crazy things happened and delay. So when I finally got to perform, we had this amazing costume designer. And he was doing all the costumes for all the dancers, all the backup dancers, everyone. And so he was sewing me into my costume as I'm being called out to the stage. So it's high stress. And then I went out and I performed. And honestly, I was just so grateful that I didn't make a fool out of myself. Like, I was so stressed out by that moment. And then in the end, the judges said some nice things, if I recall correctly. One of them said, "I don't know if this is belly dance." Well, you gave me a cha-cha-cha. He was like,
That
"I
is
don't know if
true.
this is belly dance, but I like it." And then one of the other judges, either the actress, or maybe it was even Dina herself, said something like, "Yeah, this is maybe your different flavor, your mix of belly dance and whatever, but we like that here in Egypt." Something like that. I don't know. They said some nice, encouraging things. And at the end, I was just like, woo, I was just really relieved. And I was just really excited to go home. So yeah, but it was definitely a cool experience. And some of the people who were on that show, it completely launched their careers. They moved to Cairo after that. They became wildly famous. Not me.
But you had it, and I get that. I mean, it doesn't always work out that way, but it sounds like you had a really interesting experience.
It was definitely an interesting experience.
And I wonder how they decided who to give what music to. I just, it's interesting that they gave you that piece.
It is interesting that they gave me that, because they asked for a list of music that you would be comfortable dancing to, or that resonated with you. And I sent in about 10 songs, and so did a few other people. And then some dancers got songs that like their signature song that they dance to all the time. And other dancers, there's this dancer, Rosalba. I don't know if she's dancing anymore, but she's from Los Angeles. And they gave her like an American girl group. Like, it was pop music. There wasn't anything belly dance about it. And she's a great choreographer. She did a really good job to it. But I mean, for a belly dance competition, it was not the thing. So
that's interesting.
I found that was interesting. I mean, they gave me a really bad song. And then all the comments on Facebook, you know how they comment on Facebook as though the person they're commenting about doesn't also have Facebook. And they were like, "Oh, poor girl. I mean, she did the best she could with that song. Oh my gosh, what an awful song." And I was just reading these comments. And there was one woman, actually a Black girl. I was shocked. She posted, and I think it was in the Belly Dancers of Color, now debunked or defunct, the Belly Dancers of Color site. She said something like, "Lara's performance was awful. When she said she's relieved that she danced well, I didn't believe her." And I was like, oh my God, my first online hater. I really felt like I had arrived.
I was like, you made it. I wouldn't even be mad.
Right? But I watched the thing. Like I danced well. It was fine. It wasn't my best performance, but I wasn't embarrassed. I mean, it was fine. It was good. It was good enough. So I was really surprised that she didn't believe that I was pleased with my performance. I was really, really surprised.
So it's been really interesting hearing about some of the experiences you've had traveling different places, and, you know, feeling welcome or not feeling welcome, or just, I guess, the perception we have, like with television, of what that would be and what it is. What advice from all of the challenges and accomplishments you've had during those times would you give dancers of color that are maybe feeling burnt out or jaded in the community? What would you tell them?
Well, I have definitely felt jaded or burnt out in the past. And discouraged. I guess the best advice is to find a community that welcomes you, because I could do a lot. I could get a boob job, I could get a weave, I could get a lip reduction, you know. I'm still not necessarily going to be the ideal example of beauty for some communities. It's just not in the cards. But I found a really nice niche for myself as that Black dancer in Turkey, and for me, it works out. My advice for anyone who wants to work abroad is two things that really helped, that continue to help me along the way, even after all these years. Learning the language is extremely helpful, and making friends with local dancers is also very helpful. There was a rumor when I got here. First of all, there was a rumor when I came here a long time ago about Turkish women can't be trusted. Welcome to Istanbul. Don't trust the weather. Don't trust the women. Something like that. And even more so for dance, which I also had not found to be true. I like women. I'm one of those people who gets along with other women. But they also said, yeah, well, I don't really hang out with other dancers, or other dancers can't be trusted. When in fact, a lot of my best connections have been from other dancers. A lot of my best opportunities have come from other dancers. So learn the language if you're going to do this abroad, and make friends with other dancers in the community. That would be my advice.
That's
and
great
go
advice.
where you are accepted. Thank
Yes.
you.
No, that's definitely true. I've seen that too, where people, well, especially as a woman, like being told, you know, can't be friends with other women. Really, I don't think that's true at all. But in the dance community, you even compound that with don't talk to other dancers. Well, how are we supposed to connect and network and support each other? I mean, of course, there's always going to be people out there that are not interested in that, but you have to find the people that attract you and are attracted to you. Find your like-minded people. That's what's important. It's hard to do this by yourself. You can, but I think community is an important thing. So I know that you have an extensive dance background outside of belly dance, and I wanted to highlight that as well, that you're trained in ballet, flamenco, jazz. I don't know if I'm forgetting any, but yes, tell me.
You're gassing me up a little bit, because here's what the real background is. When I was a kid, my sisters maybe had tennis and swimming, a piano or something, but I had like contemporary dance or modern dance with a bunch of other 6-year-olds. I wasn't really There wasn't a lot of technique happening there. Then when I was a couple years older, I took ballet for a short period. Then when I was in high school, I was on the dance team there. Then my major in university was Spanish and elementary education. So since I was learning Spanish, I was in the Afro-Latino community. I was going to the salsa, to the merengue. And then sometime in university, I believe it was my senior year, I was like, I really want to start taking dance classes again. And that's when I started taking belly dance. And then after I had lived in Turkey for a few years, I came back to the States, as I said, to recuperate. And I took a work study position at Joy of Motion. And I like to call that dance college. I don't know if I was there for a year and a half or 2 years, but I took everything there: ballet, jazz, street jazz, contemporary. It was amazing. I called it dance college, and I learned so much, and it was all free. All I had to do was volunteer my time at the reception for 4 hours a week. It was amazing.
That is amazing to have all of that, all of those different dance resources just for volunteering. Do you feel like once you did that, it changed or shaped you as a belly dancer to get that background in other dance forms?
I think it broadened my skill. I remember one evening in particular, I had gone to contemporary jazz, this amazing teacher. And I went to this Moroccan club afterwards, and they were playing some Arabic songs and then some modern songs. And I just remember I was just freestyling, but I remember being on fire that night. And I was like, whoa, what is this? Is this my Broadway jazz coming out? So it definitely, like, it's funny because you struggle for 90 minutes in the class, like going left, everybody else is going right. But then the next time, when you don't have that pressure, you have unlocked a new level. I always thought that about all dance classes. Really, you're trying to do it in the class, and later you find that it has come into your muscle memory. So yeah, it definitely helps.
Well, that's good to know. I think a lot of us have dabbled in different dances as kids or adults, and even if it is a short stay, it can influence the way that you dance, definitely, because it's all just body movement and finding new ways to look at how we move our bodies. So that's cool that you've had those experiences. Is there anything else that you would want to share with the dance community that we haven't talked about?
I mean, I could say a lot. I just don't know where I should go, or if I even should go there.
Well, we invite you to, because it is really important to us for dancers of color to, with what you feel comfortable, like having a voice, like what would you want to say to like just your fellow dancers of color? Whatever you feel comfortable saying, we feel comfortable hearing. We want that to be this space.
Well, I have noticed in the community, we are supporting each other more. Because even though I've been doing this for a while, and I've been in Turkey and I've been in the dance community since 2004, I don't really get a lot of inquiries. I don't really get a lot of emails. So until recently, I feel like recently more people have been reaching out to me and asking me questions or advice or inviting me to chat. So people seem to be coming together more, which is nice. I think that we should probably work on creating our own events, because even a person like me who has had a fair amount of success in the dance world in the US and outside of the US, I still think that I still think I'm privileged in a way, and I still think that probably every Black dancer isn't going to have the same experience I have had. And while I've had a lot of doors open for me, I've also had a lot of doors shut in my face. So I think that creating our own events is probably the next step. And by creating our own events, I mean someone else needs to create them, because that is a big thing to undertake. I'm not doing it, but I support you.
Well, we definitely agree. That's something that we're trying to do as a nonprofit. We had an event in November that was just featuring dancers of color as instructors, and we have our BIPOC pricing. So we do discounted pricing for dancers of color, and we're going to try to continue that. But that's great advice to give people. I mean, even outside of us, like it has to be an effort from the entire POC community to do things for ourselves. I know that it's very cliche these days, but like building your own table is important. We can't always ask for a seat at somebody else's. Not to say we can't sit with them sometimes, but yes, like that's an important thing for people to think about. Like, what are you doing to uplift your own community? Like, let's have events for ourselves. Let's promote ourselves. Let's connect with each other. Those are important things. Definitely.
Hire each other.
Yes. Because it's one thing to like talk and have these great connections, but if we want to see a change, like you said, it has to go beyond just connecting. Like, we need to actually build up a space for ourselves in the dance community.
But the connecting is very good too. You don't feel like you're alone out here. I was surprised, but it was Ebony. Do you know Ebony Qual? She's an amazing fusion dancer. Of course, you know her.
She's wonderful.
She came to visit me in Istanbul a couple of years ago, and she was like, you know, you're the only Black dancer who's dancing in one of these belly dancing countries. You know, you're the only person who's doing that. And I was like, because I hadn't really realized it myself, but there aren't a lot of people who are non-white or non-Latina who have been able to break out and do that. And I think part of it, is because I'm already here and I already speak Turkish. And I also think that part of it is like, because on the colorism spectrum, I pass for, I get this sometimes, not that Black. So I do get that sometimes. Like, people are like, oh, I don't get it so much in Turkey. Like, in Turkey, people are like, oh, I love Black people. Look at my Black friend. Let me show you a photograph of my Black friend. I just love the Blacks. Black people are nicer than whites. I don't like white America. Like, you get that a lot. Like, I almost never have to deal with racism in Turkey, although I hear that some other Black people do have to deal with it more than I have. But I do feel like I have gotten this from like well-meaning, even white people, you know, well, you're not that Black, or, so I do think that colorism is still like quite a thing. But I also think that, I mean, in Turkey, it's not as much of a thing. Like, there are even a couple of Japanese dancers working full time here. And you never see that either. You never see that in the foreign dance community. So yeah, Turkey, I guess in that way, is progressive. If you look at that.
I mean, that's good to know for other dancers, because there aren't a lot. That's like one thing that we've heard throughout this series and within ourselves as Asmara Bellydance Initiative. There are a lot of talented Black dancers of color, but we're seeing them at the same level that we might see other dancers in the community, seeing them have the same level of exposure or being internationally known. That's not the case as much. There's a lot of dancers I'm like sad and ashamed to say up until kind of as we started coming together this year that I didn't know of. Like I knew of some of our like big black, black dancers. I know of Donna Mejia. I knew of Ebony. I've taken classes with them. I've met them. They're wonderful people. But there were a lot of dancers that I've seen in the last 12 months. And I'm like, why don't I know you? You're amazing. And part of that, is
see the same people over and over again.
Right.
So
I don't
maybe
know how
Black
we
people
break out
need
of
to
that.
promote ourselves more.
Right. Because it's not to say that they're less talented. I don't want to say that we're not. I don't know if I feel like it's a combination of access, us promoting ourselves, and us being given the space. I mean, some of it's our responsibility and some of it's something we have to fight against, but we have to expose ourselves more. There's so many amazing Black dancers that I want to see in more spaces.
It's not just belly dance. There's a woman I follow online called Jess Thunder. She's a showgirl or a burlesque dancer, something like that. And they're doing some kind of, I don't know, some kind of that related to that genre, some kind of show called LA Black. I think that's what it is. Anyway, and all of the performers are Black. So it's not just belly dance, which is kind of coming together and showing out. It's other dancers as well.
That makes me happy.
Yeah.
That
I thought it was cool.
Needed. Oh, I didn't know you had a kitty.
Yes, that's my dog. He's a dog. He's the size of a cat.
Oh, he's so fluffy and small. I'm sorry.
Yes. He's the size of a dog. I mean, he's the size of a cat, but he's a dog.
He is welcome on the interview as well. We love pets. Well, was there anything else you wanted to talk about, share? We've really appreciated like your honesty and you sharing about yourself.
Not that I can think of. Thank you so much for inviting me to come and talk to you. I really enjoyed it. I think that's it.
Well, we're happy that we did this. We are a community, so we really do want to keep in touch and keep everyone connected. This won't be the last time we connect with you. If some of our listeners want to connect with you, what's the best way to reach you?
I would say Instagram. I'm on Instagram at Nomadic Belly Dancer. My email is also there. I have a dance page that I don't use that much, Istanbul Belly Dance, but I have some belly dance media on there. But Nomadic Belly Dancer is my main page. That's where you're going to find me obsessively scrolling at least an hour a day.
Okay, well, that's great. And for those of you trying to scramble to write it down, don't worry, I'm going to put it with this interview, but I just wanted to give you an opportunity to let people know the best ways to reach you, because I know we all have a lot of information out there. It doesn't necessarily mean it's the quickest route. So we appreciate you. We're so happy that we got to talk for Community Thursday, and we hope you have a lovely evening in Istanbul.
Thank you. You too. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.